And I'm back for another video, and the grumpy corgi demands my attention. Ain't that right? Okay, so moving on to the next box. And I can already tell I might have another one, possibly for the cutter box. This one feels more like a broadcloth. It's kind of a black navy color, and then it has this little stripe running through it. Okay, that's interesting. So I think this is what's left of an old Obi, which is unfortunate. Almost the other parts in there. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with this piece. This one will definitely, unfortunately, be a cutter. Whatever was on here at one point in time, it was a pretty piece. It's unfortunate. So yeah, I have now 3 things to go in my cutter box. I mean, something can be done with this, but I would like to know what originally was all on this piece. I'm going to save this one for last because it's really pretty. What in the world? I think I got another kimono piece. This one's at least intact. One thing I hate, and that's a reason I don't usually buy too many kimono boxes anymore, is because a lot of the old stuff I find is wool, and I'm allergic to wool. So I'm kind of glad this is not wool, or I'd be itching right now. It's one reason I always have people asking me, do you make any Jedi robes out of wool? I would love to, but I'm not willing to look like an elephant and be bloated up and having to live off Benadryl to try and make somebody a robe out of wool, which is very unfortunate and always an inconvenience when you are trying to recreate a costume. So yeah, it's something, if you ever ask me to do a commission, please don't ask me to do wool. Just for that simple reason. I will itch to high heck and be sleeping probably for about the next 3 days afterwards. So yeah, this one, from what I can see right now, doesn't look too bad. This one might be a unisex piece, to be honest. Man or woman could wear it, but this is technically a woman's. But, as I said, with a kimono, it doesn't really matter. It's what makes you happy, how you want to wear it, then all the more power to you. Because, honestly, if I were a guy, I wouldn't mind wearing this piece, even though the sleeves are open. And then it has kind of a teal lining to it, but like the top portion of the lining, I mean, it's still good, but I mean, you could always replace that. The lining's probably the easiest thing on these to replace. Okay, so that was a nice unexpected surprise, so I will keep that in the sell pile. Sorry, I'm trying to save the good stuff for last. Okay, at least this box makes up for the first one. I would have been really sad if I got, like, all bad stuff. It's usually the downside with buying these pound boxes. You take a risk, you get what you pay for. I'm really liking the design on this one. It's some mountains right there. You can see the curve with the trees. It's like the 4th time now I'm seeing that. Wonder if, like I said before, this could be a same artist or a company that produced these. Now, don't expect these to all end up in the shop right away, because the downside with selling these kind of items, especially clothing and just general, you have to literally sit down, have somebody help you, and measure all of these items. And that's usually a good whole day process. These are pieces I like. Easy to wear. Great. I will do this one next. So let's hope these ones are, excuse me, are at least able to be sold and not completely destroyed. Try to fold this up so I can show you the design. Now all of this is the nice metallic gold thread. So there's a lot of embroidery on here. Oh, I'm seeing one problem already. This whole area right here has stains. So as I continue along, I will figure out at least what this one is. More stains. Now, because this is the part you usually see in the back of the obi, so if the person was sitting, this is likely where all the stainage came from. So the downside with these tail parts is usually that. And then the wear and tear tends to come more up in these parts. And then staining right there. I mean, so far, I have not seen a reason to not deem it unwearable. So, to me right now, this would be at least a B grade. But like I said in the last video, stuff like this, if you don't like this background, at least part of it, you could paint this with painting fabric. But that's really your choice. I've seen people do it, and it turns out really, really nice. I don't paint. My husband's a painter. But I wouldn't trust him near fabric, to be honest. I can't even get him to pin anything for me so it lays flat. One time I asked him to help me do a fleece blanket just to pin it for me. I had to take it all out, repin it, because everything was pulling in the wrong direction, and he was lucky to still be married to me. He wasn't found in a body bag somewhere. And I just mean that in a joking way and a loving way, if he is watching. So this one, it looks like somebody tried base stitching this. So this is wearable. Other than the stains, this is a nice piece. I'm not sure what I would sell it for, because I also have to factor in platform fees. And then this I didn't get to show you. This little backing part. So that is a nice little back design. And I have one piece left for this video. The one I was saving. Now, hopefully this is my moneymaker of this whole box. Or I might very well keep this. It's hard to say, because I do have some pieces that would go with it. And right away I'm noticing some bleeding because of the fabric. So something bled into here. So that's unfortunate. Typically crane pieces, if they're in good condition, can be worth money. This one, depending on the condition, the age, I don't see any wear yet so far down the center, because that's usually where stuff like these pieces tend to, unfortunately, fall apart. I'm going to try to get close up so you can see the detail. And this is all embroidery. So you can tell when you run your fingers through the way the thread moves. So that was all a satin stitch. So this is all a hand embroidered piece. I'm really loving the way the crane was done. More stains. So this one so far, but I haven't looked at the back, so I will show the back on this maybe, is probably going to end up being at least a B grade piece. And right here I see more of the bleeding. This doesn't look like it was part of the dye process, but it gives it character. That's how I look at it. Or it could have been, it was raining out and the original kimono they had been wearing could have been red and it bled into the fabric, which is something that is common, because I do believe in Japan, high quality piece kimono, they do tend to dye them themselves. So the dye might have been very rich and not completely taken out when they cleaned it to get it ready for the construction process. I'm going to show the back of this. Now, I don't claim to know everything about kimono. When I was having a lot of chronic pain problems back in 2016, I couldn't sit, I couldn't sew. I was quite miserable, so I ended up researching how to make kimono, because one thing I wanted to do was lose weight. I'm still working on that. I mean, I was almost 280 pounds and I got down to close to 259, so I'm working there. I would like to be at least under the 260 mark, you know, before the year's over. But that was the one thing that got me through my pain, and it gave me something to encourage myself to try and get healthier. And here's where I talk about having boo-boos. So this one right here, unfortunately, is not a wearable piece. But there is enough here, but you have to have skill to do it. You could either turn it into a table runner. If you are really skinny, you could cut it in half and salvage the end, just turn it over, or tuck it, which I'll show in a second, to still salvage this. So what I'm suggesting is, if you would want to wear this piece, you take this, sorry, I'm trying to do it, or I could do it technically and just explain that, and try to keep it so it stays in line. And trying to do this with one hand is not easy. Anyway, this is just a general idea. So you could technically wear this piece, but you would have to do a fold over, which would probably be the safest option to do. Now, it ain't gonna really affect it too much. Depends on how you're gonna wear it, but that's probably losing about, let's say, 10 inches. But personally, if it were me, I would try to use some no fray check. I would fray check all this just to keep this part intact, because fray check will help prevent any further fraying. This you might want to use fabric glue, or if you can find it in the US, I have yet to find it, rice glue. What they use on kanzashi, technically. And don't try making it yourself. I tried one time, it didn't work too well. It ended up molding. And I'll never try to do another video of it, so don't ask. But yeah, anything right here, you'd want to do the fray check just to try and keep this intact. And it looks like there was a chunk removed. So if it were me, and I might do it, but technically I don't want to, you would just take this part starting about here. You're going to fold it over, kind of like a sandwich. And then you're just going to, you're going to have to probably use a machine just to make it stay. Sew all of it down. So let me do that again while trying to use my knee. So basically, it's kind of like a little tuck. A tuck pleat. Now, you would have to literally sew the sides down with the machine. You might want to try and base stitch, but I would be leery, so that's why I would say come over further, just because this is where the unraveling process is. So you'd want to come over at least up to this flower. And then if you know how to do a basic blind stitch / base stitch, then that would probably help keep it in there. Because if you did a machine, your sewing machine stitch would literally be showing. And unfortunately, I think that runs, well, maybe you could get away with it. But right here is your line, so you know where the problem is. So this one, I mean, it could be fixed and sold, or it could be turned into a table runner. Really unfortunate. But a good chunk of it can be saved. So that was kind of a disappointment, but it can be fixed, or you can turn it into a table runner, your choice. This one I'll have to decide what I'm doing. I usually talk to my girlfriend and see what she thinks, but I think I might end up fixing this one myself. If I do, I'll have to charge just for the time to do it. But if you're interested in any of these pieces, just drop me a message, be it on YouTube, eBay, Etsy, or you can contact me on Facebook, and you can buy these. And I might do another video, like I said, sometime in the future of other stuff. Just depends on time and what I got. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you again next time, along with the Angry Corgi. Bye for now.